In this video, I'm going over 3 things that I learned and experienced from my near-death experience. Many of you who have been on the channel for a while know that I went through a near-death experience a little over 2 years ago now. And I've made some videos on this topic, but most of them were without an organized script or things to stick to, so I kind of rambled a lot or went on tangents. I personally don't mind that form of content, but in this one I want to give you a more succinct, concise version of what I learned and what I experienced going through this, and hopefully you can take away something and apply it to your own life based on what I learned from this crazy life-changing experience. So that's coming up next. Hi there, my name is Dave and this is HeartSpace. If you're new to this channel where we produce videos almost every single day from my heart to yours to help you live life in your way. For me, that means living a life of fulfillment, a life of freedom, and similar things from my heart. So if you want more videos that are gonna help you to do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon down below. Now again, in this video, I want to go over my near-death experience, 3 things that I learned, experienced from this, and how it changed my life, so that if some of these resonate with you, you can take them into your life and hopefully reap the benefits. That's coming up next. So we're going to go in reverse order with number 3. And this one was more of an experience, but it definitely came with a lesson. And it was the experience of feeling intense, unconditional love. Like I go over in that experience, you know, one of the most profound things that happened when I wasn't sure which way this was going to go. Was I going to survive this? Was this going to be it for me in this form? And I was at really that point when I started feeling this presence of incredible, powerful, intense, unconditional love. And it was one of the most powerful experiences till this day in my life of just really experiencing that presence and everything that comes with actually feeling unconditional love. And, you know, a lot of times we throw the word love around loosely in our day-to-day, in our everyday lives. That's what I was going for. That's what I was looking for. And we sometimes don't know what true love feels like, or unconditional love. You know, love without expectation. Love no matter what. You know, not if you're this way or that way. Not if you have imperfections, which we all do if we're going to hold ourselves to a certain standard. Not if, you know, you've done something in your past. You know, I was just held in this unconditional love. And it was one of the most incredible feelings, one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And what I took away from that, because there definitely was a lesson in there, was I was already shifting to a place where I understood this is a feeling that I could feel way more in my life. That it's something that I should be prioritizing, actually bringing more unconditional love in my life by feeling it myself, by giving it to others, by transmitting that energy out into the world. Because I really believe there are few feelings more powerful, more profound, more changing or life-changing, more pleasurable than the feeling of unconditional love. Being in the presence of someone or something or a being, you know, I don't know what I was in the presence of. To me, it felt like a being that just, again, had this unconditional love radiating from it. And I could feel that. And it really served me in the sense of teaching me, I want to bring more of that into my life. I want to remember this feeling, this gift really that was presented to me in that moment, and to be able to give that to others, to be able to spread the message of love, unconditional love, not this wishy-washy love that so many of us have become conditioned into or used to, where it's, you know, I give you love, you give me love, I scratch your back, you scratch my back, you know, love with conditions, with expectations. To me, that's not really love. And so one of the biggest lessons I took away from that, especially that part of the experience, was to allow more love into my life, to embody love. It's possible. It's something I can do. It's something we all can do. And to prioritize that over maybe some other things I might have been prioritizing more at the time. So that was the first one. That was probably one of the most powerful moments of this experience, is when I had that presence of just unconditional love. And I mean, for anyone who's ever felt unconditional love truly, you know, energetically, fully, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's incredible. And I really do believe it's something we can work to bring into our everyday lives, not just something you have to go through a near-death experience to have, but that was something that was such a profound just experience in and of itself. So number two was another really powerful lesson that I learned from this. And this is one I think everyone can apply into their lives. And ever since this moment, I've been applying this in my life more and more and more. And it's just enriched my life, made it better, made it less stressful. And it was the lesson of everything is going to be okay, no matter what. And this might seem very simplistic. This might even seem silly to a lot of you. But in this moment, when I was experiencing this, this is what was conveyed to me when this unconditional love was presented to me. As some of you know who have watched the near-death experience video, and I'll link it down below for those of you who haven't, who do want to watch it, where I go into more detail about it. But in that video, I go over how this presence gave me a choice. It actually asked me, do you want to go? And implying, do you want to go or do you want to stay? But what it also presented to me, what it also helped me to feel in that moment, was a sense of empowerment either way, a sense of whichever you choose, everything's going to be okay. It's just, do you want to keep going on here? Or do you want to move into another form? Do you want to move beyond this physical form into whatever's next, but understand that no matter what, that everything's going to be okay? And again, this was such a profound moment for me because it, one, made me realize I do want to live in this form. I want to live. I know that, but it also taught me that even if I decided, you know what, yeah, it's time for me to go. I've served my time here. I've done what I've wanted to do. There's not much more for me to experience. It's time to go. And I know I'll be fine doing that as well. And it was such a profound moment. And so I was given this choice, but not this choice with this element of fear involved. You know, a lot of us, for example, are afraid to die in this form because we fear death. But when you remove that fear, it really also gives you a window into why it is you actually want to live. And I got to see, oh, there's so much for me to continue this experience for. There's so much I want to do. There's so much I still want to experience. And so instead of living just because I was afraid to die, it gave me reasons to actually live because I want to live, if that makes sense. You know, I feel like a lot of people are living in a sense of just not wanting to not be alive or just not wanting to die. But once that fear goes out the window, which I experienced through this, it really changes and shifts your perspective away from avoiding and moving towards something, you know, moving towards the things I want to experience in life. It allowed me to almost become free of expectation and all these other things, because I decided I want to be here and I want to experience certain things. I don't care what anyone else wants from me. I don't care, you know what other people say I should do. I'm going to live this experience to its fullest based on what I believe that to be, what I believe my soul is telling me to do. And so this was a huge lesson to me to understand that everything is going to be okay. And really, if you start developing that mantra, you start embodying it, you start taking it on board, you'll see how much better it makes you feel, how much it will allow you to do things you may have not once done because of fear. And once you understand that, whatever happens, even if the worst possible thing we're told will happen, and the worst possible thing we're told, usually that can happen to us when we go do something or whatever, even though it's a tiny, slim chance anyway, is that you'll die. But even when you start to understand that that isn't what we've been made to believe that it is, that you're going to be fine even if that happens regardless, it almost opens up your world. It just frees you in so many different ways. And that was something else I took away from this experience. And it's something that I remember every single time I think about this experience. And it just, again, it's helped enrich my life so much. It's helped me to do things I may have not done otherwise out of, fear. And again, it's something that I really think so many people could benefit from, just this idea of everything's going to be okay. And if something in your heart is leading you towards something, even if fear comes up, you should do it. You should go off and do it and see where it takes you, see where that bend around the river will lead to. So I kind of got ahead of myself in the last one because number one, I kind of already said, but I'll go into a little more detail. And the number one thing that I learned, and not number one in necessarily form as an importance, but the number one of this list is to be true to myself. Once you go through one of these experiences and you learn the things you're meant to learn, I believe, through them, you learn that everything is going to be okay. You learn about unconditional love and just that incredible feeling and all these different things. I really believe it freed me to start being myself more and more. And I've discovered or found that since that experience, I have been myself more and more and more unapologetically. I do feel that so many people are apologizing for being themselves, because it might annoy someone else or because someone wants to stay, within their small self instead of moving into what they truly are. into actually shining their light. You know, Michael Beckwith says something about, you know, it is a disservice to the world not to shine your light as brightly as you can shine it. But so many people are dimming their light, shying away from who they are, who they want to be, how they want to express themselves, because they fear what other people will think. They fear, you know, all of these different things. All of this fear comes up. And so because of what happened and because of what I experienced, it allowed me to get over a lot of these fears in that moment. I still fall back into them from time to time, but I remember this experience. And it allows me to go, you know what? There's no point in me not shining my light as much as I possibly can. You know, some of the videos on this channel, I wouldn't have been able to make, or probably wouldn't have had the courage to make, out of fear of what people would think, out of fear of being maybe ridiculed. If I had not gone through this experience. And that's actually already happened too. You know, I've already been ridiculed in one way or another for some of the videos I've made on here, but I don't care, because it's showing me that, look, some people may not react to my stuff favorably. Some people might downright hate it. Some people may be in complete opposition, and that's absolutely fine. That is their choice. That is their experience, them expressing themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make it right or wrong, but it also doesn't make what I'm doing right or wrong either. And it's allowed me, empowered me to really express myself, to express what is coming through me out loud instead of holding it within, instead of stifling it, to really be true to myself. You know, in the book Conversations with God, one of the most powerful things I always remember that's said in that book time and time again is that the worst person to betray, the worst person to go against is yourself. Because if you betray yourself, you're basically betraying all others. Because, you know, with all of these things, you know, we forget that we are all connected. And so by betraying yourself, you are actually betraying others. By hurting yourself, you are hurting others, by all of these different things. And the same on the flip side of that, by not helping yourself, you fail to help others. You know, by helping others from an empty cup will only allow you to influence and to help people and to impact people from the level of an empty cup. Where if you are giving from your overflow because you've done your self-care, you've taken care of yourself, you stayed true to yourself, because again, not staying true to yourself is, you know, almost betrayal to yourself. It is compromising who you want to be, how you want to express yourself, because it might offend someone else or for whatever other reason, fear that comes up. And so one of the other important lessons that came out of this experience was to be true to myself. And I think that's a lesson anyone can gain some benefit from. And I have to say, since that experience, I have been more true to myself than I ever have in my life. In the last 25, 26 years leading up to this near-death experience, I have lived more true to myself in these last a little over 2 years than I did in the first 26 years I was on this planet. And I was progressively, you know, kind of evolving into that point. But then I had this experience and it just, it almost like launched me further down the path, revealed things to me in such a potent way that it just like was just huge progress in that area. And life has become so much more fulfilling. Life has become so much more joyful. I'm so much more grateful and appreciative. I'm so much more just in so many different things. Since I've been doing that, staying true to myself. And that doesn't mean I don't slip up. It doesn't mean that sometimes I do things that are against myself, that I shy away from things that I truly believe in just because I think someone might not take to it, which there will always be someone who doesn't agree with what you're doing or what you're saying or whatever else. But I have found that I've been so much more true to myself. And when I'm doing that, especially very consistently, which I tend to now, life just feels better. You know, I just feel better. I express myself better. I attract more better things to me. All of these different things start to happen. And so I believe, you know, anyone can take that lesson away from this experience. You don't have to necessarily go through the experience of a near-death experience to feel these things. You can try them on now and see how they impact you, see if it's something you want to move forward with. But that's another one I would highly suggest you look at, is this idea of being true to yourself and understanding and prioritizing it a little more, and understanding that it's better to be true to yourself and it maybe offend someone than to dim your light and allow that to appease someone. All right, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Now, I have some other videos that go over my near-death experience that I will leave down below. Again, I want to make this a little more succinct, a little more concise. It wasn't as much like me talking from the beginning to the end, which the other one is, because I really want to tap into the emotion in that video. I really wanted to almost relive the experience so that I can give you it in that form. But I also wanted to give you this one where it's like, okay, here are the 3 lessons. Here are the 3 biggest things I think I learned from that when I really think back to it. And I wanted to give you it in that form as well. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate you being here. Like I say with all my videos, or at least for the most part, these will only work for you if something I've said resonated with you and you went, this is something that I think would help me in my life. It will only help you if you actually apply it. Listening to it is great. That brings it into your awareness, but then you need to express it out into the physical world. You need to actually go out there and do those things for it to actually have an impact. So if it is something that resonated with you, I would invite you to do that. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching. As always, I love you unconditionally, and I will see you in the next one.